This video is meant for first-time buyers who want to know the various things they'll need cash for in order to buy a home, with today's topic focusing on something called adjustments on closing. We probably need to start with what exactly adjustments on closing even are in the first place. So consider that there are certain costs that a homeowner might prepay. Property taxes are a great example. So an adjustment on closing would be you, the buyer, paying the seller back for money that has already been prepaid that is no longer the seller's responsibility once you take possession of the home, otherwise known as closing day. Now let's use property taxes as a specific example. So property taxes are typically paid in quarterly installments or every 3 months. So let's say the homeowner or the seller has paid their taxes already for April to June, but you've bought the place and you're scheduled to become the new owner in the middle of May. So the property taxes will become your responsibility as of mid-May, but they've already been paid up until the end of June by the seller. So on closing day, the seller will get a credit paid by you for the amount of taxes that have already been paid, but will no longer be their responsibility. And this might be obvious, but the amount that you credit them would be roughly half of the taxes paid, since you're taking over possession of the home about halfway through that tax installment period. Another common adjustment would be maintenance or condo fees if you're buying that type of property. Now, these fees are usually paid monthly, and so if you're taking possession at any point other than the day that the seller pays those fees, which is usually the first of the month, then you'll owe them a bit of cash. While there are all kinds of adjustments, the last example that I'll give is one that typically favors the buyer, and that would be rent if you're buying a property that has tenants. So if rent has been paid for that monthly period, then you, the buyer, would receive a prorated amount of that rental portion paid, again, depending on when you close. Same goes for deposits. So you should be receiving a credit for the full deposits paid by any of the tenants that the landlords would have been hanging on to in anticipation of whenever that last month's rent is. A final point I'll leave you with is that these adjustments are prorated to the day, meaning you'll never pay for an amount that you are not responsible for. These calculations are taken care of by the lawyers involved, and they'll be included in the paperwork that you'll sign off on shortly before taking possession. I'm Jamie Harnish, Toronto Real Estate Navigator with Bosley Real Estate. I want to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you again. Take care.